Good evening once again. Thank you for joining us at the South Sea Sharks post-match presser with our Director of Rugby, Neil Powell. I'm now going to open the floor for questions. Ken, followed by Sabu.
Thanks so much, how's it, Neil? Congratulations.
Thanks, Ken.
You're on mute, Ken. Sorry.
Sorry, I went. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Thanks so much, Neil. How's it, Neil? Congratulations. I'm guessing you're a mix of emotions at the moment because the Sharks really played some great rugby there, some fantastic multi-phase attacks. You got the bonus point, but you must be feeling, and also giving credit to some wonderful Lions defence, that they could have done more in that game, couldn't they? I mean, you could have won by even more.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Good evening, media. Yeah, good question, Ken. And I think we obviously will always push for that perfect game where we get everything right. And I think at times we had glimpses of it, whether it was an attack or defense or even how we managed the kicking game. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep it up for 80 minutes. And yeah, and I think for me, that first 15, 20 minutes, we were really clinical, scored those 2 tries and then soft moments to let them back into the game. And yeah, and I think if you get that momentum, you gotta stay on top of them. If you give them the momentum back, then obviously it's difficult to get that momentum back. So yeah, I agree with you. And again, it's obviously a step in the right direction. I think as a team we definitely going in the right direction. It's just a case of we gotta look at this game, know where we can improve and where we can be better, and then yeah, work harder to make a step up when we come back again against the Bulls.
Ken, are you gonna go again?
Go ahead, Sabu.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, thanks. Hi, Coach. Well done on the victory. It's 4 wins on the bounce since the loss to Cardiff. How pleased are you with the momentum, the turnaround, and the performances, which seem to be gradually increasing in terms of how well the team is playing, aside from the results?
Yeah, so I think it's like you said, I think it's great for us to see how the team improves. I think the efforts out there was really good tonight as well, especially in defense. And that again is what we will be looking at. And like I said, it wasn't perfect. At times we were really good, but at times it wasn't really perfect. So we obviously will keep working on the areas that we can improve. But I think great that you can see that improvement over the last 4 games, and I think it comes with a bit of belief as well. The team starting to believe that we can be successful and that we can do well in this URC competition and in the EPCR. So if we just keep believing in the system and keep believing in each other, yeah, hopefully we can have another successful game and another step up next weekend against the Bulls.
Now, Coach, you had something the Lions didn't have, and that's significant options in terms of Springbok material. And you brought on Sia Kolisi around the 55th minute, I believe, when the game was still on a knife edge, even though you guys were in front. Like, these players, how critical are they to the setup, their ability, to call up a guy like Kolisi when you see the game is in the balance? And of course, Makazole Mapimpi, despite an early error, coming back to put on the performance that he did.
Yeah, listen, I think it's always going to be a team effort, and it's great that we have those Springboks that we can call on in terms of the experience and the standards that they bring. But again, it's what we will expect from any of the guys that's on the bench, that when they get the opportunity to play 20 or 30 or even 10 minutes, that they come onto the field, stick to the system and to the structures and the game plan, and bring the effort with it. So I think credit to all 8 guys that was on the bench, and when they came onto the field, how they performed. So yeah, I think an all-round good performance from all 23 guys.
Just finally from me, the Bulls are up next week at home. They're still in a tussle right now with the Stormers. What is the thought process going into that game? They've obviously saved their big guns for this run of matches in the South African derbies. Are you gonna fight fire with fire, or are you gonna reassess what you have in terms of how big you wanna go for that game?
Yeah, I think we've already got a plan in place for them in terms of team selection and then obviously how we want to play them. We will, I think, obviously have a good look at the game they're playing now against the Stormers and I think we will get a lot out of that in terms of the Bulls and how to play them. But yeah, I think we already got a plan. We already know the team that we're going to select against the Bulls. So I think we'll enjoy this win, have a few days off, enjoy Christmas. Obviously a lot sweeter now after this victory. And then come back next week and make sure that we prepare well again for the Bulls like we did for this game against the Lions.
Thank you. Next question. Are there any further? Ken, go ahead.
Thanks so much. Neil, sorry, just to go back to my initial question, can you put your finger on why the guys just went, I mean, obviously there were a couple of individual basic errors straight after you guys went 12-0 up that did sort of allow the Lions back into the game. But were there other areas during the game that you felt could be improved upon?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. I think there was like 3 individual areas just after we went 12-0 up that allowed them to get back into the game. I think that at times individuals went out of structure as well, and we've obviously addressed that at halftime. And I also think that we can be a lot more patient in our attack when we get into the opposition 22. It feels sometimes like we rush ourselves, and I think if we rush ourselves, we're not as clinical as we would like to be. So that's definitely one of the areas that we'll be looking at. I think a good performance in terms of defense, only allowing the Lions to score 1 try. And I think in general, we did well to manage the kicking game well as well. So, but like I said, we obviously will have a look at the game and we'll look at areas that we can improve as individuals, but also as a team.
Are there any further questions? Sabu?
Can I go, Navash, if there's nobody?
Yes,
Coach, sorry. Just on the areas of improvement, Thomas du Toit played a loose head today. Obviously, we recognize him now as a tight head. There were a few scrums that tilted the Lions' way. I think also the hooker, Kieran Van Vuuren, got pinged a few times. Is it an area that you want to look at? What was the reason behind that tinkering of Thomas, and is it something you're going to continue with, shifting him from tight head and loose head?
Yeah, listen, I think we were basically forced to send or to shift Thomas to the loose head with Ox being suspended, and then Ntutuku that's got a concussion. We needed to almost move to Thomas to the loose head. And I think it's obviously difficult when you've scrummed for the last few games on tight head and then to move to loose head. So like I said, we obviously know who we're going to select next weekend. We could see Thomas back at tight head with the availability of Ox and Tutuku for this game, for the game next weekend against the Bulls. So I think scrumming will be one of those areas that we'll be focusing on. But I think overall not a bad performance. I think we got pinned once for wheeling the scrum, and then obviously second time for Kieran that got his knee on the ground.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
Ken, you can go ahead with your question.
Thanks so much. Neil, just on a positive note, I believe it was really humid in Durban today, and just the number of phases the team managed to string together today. I mean, there were some great phases of rugby which eventually broke down. I mean, but we're talking 9, 10, 12 phases, which something in the past Sharks teams maybe have not been able to do as consistently as they did tonight.
Can you say it on a positive note, like there was a lot of negatives in the game, but I'll take it on a positive note. Yeah, I think one of the things that we really were talking about over the last 2 or 3 weeks was definitely respecting the ball a lot more, being able to get through the phases and ask questions of the opposition defense. And like you said, I think there was times that we really got through a few phases and really tested the defense and managed to respect the ball more and hang on to the ball more. So it's definitely one of the work-ons from the previous games that we felt like we need to make a step up on. And I think the guys has done it well tonight against the Lions.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? If not, thank you, Coach, for your time. Thank you, media, for yours. And on behalf of everyone at the South Sea Sharks, we wish you a Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thanks,